It is my pleasure to welcome everybody to the first meeting of the month of June 2021. My name is Ari Klickstein. I'm the president of the TIC Toastmasters Club, and I have been a little bit absent the last few meetings because my wife and I had a daughter who you can hear maybe in the background. She turned 1 month old today. And in other exciting anniversaries, our club turned 21 yesterday. So it is a big day for anniversaries and celebrations. I also want to celebrate and recognize that we have a number of new members who joined since my last time participating. If you could all just give a wave, new members. So we have Vishesh, Bathsheba, and anybody else on video? Maybe not right now. And I'm also really excited because our new members are participating on the agenda today, which is fantastic that you guys are jumping right into things. We also, in addition to a few of these new faces who are new members, new to me, we have a few guests. And I would love if the guests could take just 30 seconds to a minute and introduce themselves, how they found our club, what they're looking for out of this. So I think one is Sally. Dorcas, I think you've been here before, but I'd love to hear from you briefly. Yeah, Sally, go ahead.
Hi, good evening, everyone. This is my first time to be a guest in this club. So I currently am in area 46. I really appreciate Zachary invite me to here, and I'm looking for to be a member of club around my area as a virtue, because after this period of time, so maybe many club go back to in person, but actually I'm looking for the virtual meeting. So because I live in New Jersey, so that's the reason I like to visit a couple of clubs to try to make a decision. But I really like your club at this moment because I know so. Very welcome atmosphere and very happy to be here. I'm currently, I joined Pfizer Toastmaster Club almost 3 years. And this year I'm a Area 46 area director. I definitely, I learned a lot from Toastmaster. I think this is a very fantastic experience. I would like to continue. So yeah, I'm thinking about to join your club. So this is my first time to visit here. I really appreciate, you show me around here, and very happy to join you.
Fabulous, great to have you. Especially, as an area director, you know the ropes. You know what's on the agenda and what we'll be doing today. So it's great to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other guests want to briefly introduce themselves? Dorcas, if you'd like. If I'm saying that correctly, you can let me know.
Yes, Dorcas.
Thanks.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for allowing me to participate in your meeting. What can I say about myself? I'm a graphic designer for a living. I love cycling. I love swimming. I love traveling. I love meeting people. I would like to learn more languages. And I participated in the past in some Toastmaster, but I never became a member of any of them. I just went to some meetings.
Got it. That's great.
And I was invited by Giuseppe.
Fantastic. Yes, I hear you two know each other. So that's great. I'm so glad that you could join us today. And yeah, you mentioned graphic design. There's a very interesting painting, I believe.
We know each other very well. She's my wife. She's my wife.
Fantastic. Well, it's always great when people bring extra guests to the meeting. I might have a special guest make an appearance later. We'll see if she's crying or not, how cranky she's going to be. But I would love to keep us moving because we have a lot to get to today. We're going to have 2 speeches. We're going to have table topics where everybody has an opportunity to speak off the cuff and come up with something brand new as a speaking topic. And then at the very end of the meeting, all of the members are going to have the opportunity to vote and decide who our officers will be for the coming year. I'll drop the link to the agenda in the chat, and I would just love to remind everybody of the mission of our club, and then I will pass it off to the Toastmaster. So the mission of a Toastmasters Club such as ours is to provide a mutually supportive, positive learning environment in which every member has the opportunity to develop communication and leadership skills, which in turn foster self-confidence and personal growth. So we're all here to learn from each other and to help each other succeed. And it is my pleasure to welcome our Vice President of Education, Jahnavi Utukuri, who's going to be the Toastmaster and the MC for the evening. Jahnavi, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ari, just a quick note. We are supposed to have a guest speaker today, Andrea, and she just emailed me saying she doesn't have the email link. I forgot to send it to her. Could somebody send me the link so I could send it to her? Because she's going to be our first speaker today.
I'm on it.
Okay. Okay, if Ari, could you just fill the time for like 30 seconds? Let me just send this to Andrea and I'll be right back.
Absolutely, go for it.
Thank you.
Sure thing. So one thing that I'm curious about for our members, I know we're going to have an opportunity to vote later, but I was listening to the recording of the two meetings that I missed, and we had a guest general evaluator who had a suggestion, who said that we might want to, from time to time, do table topics, the spontaneous speaking at the beginning of the meeting, in order to get everybody warmed up, rather than at the very end. Could I just see like a thumbs up, thumbs down, how people feel about experimenting with that on screen? Yeah, one thumb. I see a couple thumbs up. That's great. Okay, so maybe the next meeting in June, we will mix it up and we'll start with table topics. I personally think table topics is a lot of fun. So that's great to see that people are open to that flexibility. All right.
I'm back.
Excellent.
Thank you. I totally forgot to send her the link. Hi, everyone.
We can flip. Put Andrea second. So we give her time to join. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that would be great. Welcome, everyone. As Ari mentioned, it is our club's 21-year anniversary. I'm so excited to be part of such a long-established club. And I also wanted to welcome all of our new members today. Happy to see all of you. And Sally, if you decide to join us, that would be great. We look forward to connecting with you as well. I am happy to be your Toastmaster today. Out of all the roles that are in a Toastmasters meeting, my two favorite roles in a meeting are being a Toastmaster and being a topics master. I think because as a Toastmaster, you have to step a little bit outside of your comfort zone and be the MC of a meeting, and you get to introduce everyone. And at the same time, you get to know all of the members because you're introducing them. So I am very happy to be your Toastmaster today, and I'm sure I'm going to learn more about all of you as I introduce you in your roles. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our first role taker today, who is our timer, who also happens to be our club treasurer, Mr. Giuseppe, who's going to briefly go over all the timings for this meeting. Giuseppe?
Hi, everybody. So, well, the role of the timer is pretty much keep track of how long you are talking. And for that reason, we have our little window, which is called Mr. Timer Master. And when you have a speech, please pin that one so you know when you are. So we have multiple types of speeches. We have the prepared speeches that are 5 to 7 minutes normally. Sometimes they are a little bit longer. We have the evaluations, which are 2 to 3 minutes, and table topics, the best part of the meeting, 1 to 2 minutes. So just to show a little bit what's going to happen, this go for a second, but it's going to be in minutes when it's a speech. We have the little timer there that is changing, and when it hits the 5 minutes, it's going to be green, telling the person, okay, you're good on time. Then it gets 6 minutes, it's going to be yellow, start to wrap up, prepare, and at 7 minutes is in red. You already are boring everybody. Everybody's already asleep. So time to pass the torch to Jahnavi or Toastmasters for tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Timer, Giuseppe. I would now like to call upon our counter to take a minute or so to introduce himself and talk about his role.
Good evening to my fellow Toastmasters and to our guests. I'm Michael Smith. I'll be serving as the odd counter for this evening's meeting. The purpose of the odd counter is to note words and sounds that are used as a crutch or a pause filler by anyone who speaks. Now, please note that by identifying when you use these types of filler words, it's not to embarrass you. It's to highlight how your speech is being presented and the fact that you should be looking at eliminating the types of filler words that everybody uses, even the professional speakers. So please don't be embarrassed if you say a few ums or ahs and so forth and so on. Just try to be as conscious as possible. I'll be taking note of those usage, and at the end of the meeting, I'll provide a report. Thank you. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mr. Counter. That was a lovely introduction. Now, I would like to introduce one of our newest members, and hopefully I'm not going to butcher your name again, Vishesh.
Right.
Okay, Vishesh Mongia, and he will be our word master today. And I think just before the meeting, he also mentioned he can do a joke. So I'm really excited that you're stepping outside your comfort zone and doing both roles. So let's give a round, applause to Vishesh.
Thank you, Toastmaster. Good evening, everyone. Myself, Vishesh Mongia. I'm serving as a word master today for the group. This is the first time that I'm serving, so I'm excited for this role. Hopefully, I'm able to enrich you with the word vocabulary today so that you can use it in your daily life going forward. So should I introduce the word right now? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. So the word for today is subtle. I repeat, subtle. It's spelled as S-U-B-T-L-E. The word and the letter B is silent. So it's a two-syllable word and it's an adjective. It's said as subtle. So it's especially of a change or distinction, so delicate or precise as to be difficult to analyze or describe. So one of the examples for the use of word is the subtle flavors of spices. The other example could be, it was a subtle shade of gray. So these are the two examples, and I'll be also counting the usage of the word as you speak today. Thank you.
And Mr. Vishesh, do you also have the joke for us, or?
So the joke of the day is, I ordered a chicken and an egg from Amazon, and I'll let you know.
Thank you. Thank you, Vishesh. And if everybody opens up your chat, you can also see the word of the day definition and used in a sentence. So as Vishesh mentioned, let's all try to use the word subtle as much as we can in our speeches or impromptu speeches. Okay. Next up is our member, one of our newest members who will be presenting the speech tip of the day. Bathsheba, off to you.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Can you hear me? Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Welcome, honored guests. My name is Bathsheba Cohen. I like to say that because a lot of times I can tell someone is having trouble with my name because I see them doing this. So I know they mean me. My speech tip today comes from 6 years of being a member of Pfizer Free Speech with Sally Zhang. The speech tip today is breathe. Just breathe. Why am I telling you to breathe? Breathing is something that, for those of us that are healthy, it comes naturally. It's something that you do without thinking. Google basically says breathing is the inhaling and exhaling of air into and out of your lungs. As a Toastmaster, why am I telling you to breathe? Besides breathing for the sake of breathing in order to live. If it's your first speech, which is called an icebreaker, you're probably going to be nervous. I will tell you the best thing that you can do for yourself when you're giving your icebreaker is to put in subtle, measured. Take a moment to breathe. You will hear your heartbeat as you breathe. It will cause you to calm down. It will lower your anxiety. You will get through your speech. If you are a seasoned Toastmaster, even more so, I have seen seasoned Toastmasters rush through a speech because they are SME, meaning the subject matter expert. They know their subject. They're running that PowerPoint presentation. As an audience member, you're trying to catch up with what they're saying and the presentation, and sometimes the two don't connect. It's just a fact. I've seen it. I had a seasoned Toastmaster. I was her speech evaluator. I asked her to slow down. She didn't believe me. I said, next time, time yourself. When she timed herself, she came back and apologized and said, you were right. Every time she gives a speech now, she takes herself, reminds herself to pause, to breathe, to give that measured time. That is the best advice that I can give you today for you to become a better speaker. And trust me, when you start breathing and taking a moment, you will really enjoy your Toastmasters journey. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Bathsheba. That was a great speech tip of the day. I know I've been guilty of that myself, where I consider myself a seasoned Toastmaster and speaker, and there have been times where I forget to breathe and I feel like I'm gasping for breath during my speeches. So great job. So we should all learn to breathe during our speeches and pause so that everyone can understand what you're saying. Now, before I introduce our speakers today, I just wanted to inform everyone that between our speakers, we're going to give 1 minute to the timer so that our members and guests could share feedback with the speaker's presentation. So I would like to introduce our first speaker today. Her name is Andrea King. She's not a member of this club, but she's a guest speaker. That's why you see my name on the agenda so many times. She's working from Pathways Innovative Planning, Level 3. Connect with Storytelling. Her speech is 5 to 7 minutes. And the title of her speech is Can You Trust Again? And just give me 1 second. I think that's all the details that I have. So, Andrea, if you could unmute yourself. Oh, okay, there you are. I didn't see you before.
Hi.
You can go ahead when you're ready.
Okay. No, before I begin, I just saw yawning before speaking is wonderful. So I had to chuckle. Oh my God, I love that. That is such a big takeaway. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah. Fellow Toastmasters, distinguished friends, guests, and all that who want to trust again. It's contagious. All right. According to the dictionary, trust is the belief of reliability, truth, ability of, or strength of someone or something. Fellow Toastmasters and friends, trust plays an important role in my life. And today I'm here to share with you how different ways that you can remove the negative thoughts and attitudes about trust. In my adult and professional life, it was challenging to trust anyone. I recall a story with my best friend who was very poor or less fortunate than I am. When I was a child, I was taught trust, family, and friends. I recall my best friend Cindy, whom I grew up with. We did everything together. We share our intimate stories about our families, about our love life. We both had exquisite taste for finer things in life. We complemented each other. And what set us apart was my reserved personality at that time and she was outgoing. My refinement and the residential community where I live in a big house. She lived in an apartment in a diverse community with lots of activities. Over time, our trusting relationship of many years fell apart. I hadn't faced the thought about the fact that jealousy lay dormant in her personality until one day when my belligerent relative, Sandy, began gossiping with Cindy about me, that I had made many negative thoughts and comments about her and other lies. Rather than communicating with me about the true story, Cindy believed my belligerent relative. She knew how divisive and destructive this relative Sandy was. But guess what, fellow Toastmasters and friends? I learned something that defining moment she believed. There were times I had to reassure Cindy that the comments were false. I recalled returning from a trip from London, purchasing gifts for Sandy. And I met her, and she had met my relative, and my relative began to say all these negative things about me. But I decided that I would keep our friendship. And that went on for a very long time. The lies, my heart became heavy-hearted, and the bond of our trust continued to sever with a chain of connection that we gradually faded our relationship, and my ability to have confidence in our relationship fell apart. I made the painful decision to sever my relationship with Cindy. It was the most challenging decision to make. I weep and could not believe the tornado that swept through our relationship and our friendship. I felt betrayed. Emotionally, a trusting relationship is in our early childhood is one of love, one of connection. She was more than a sister to me. She was my best friend. She was the one who I leaned on for security and trust because we shared everything together. Fellow Toastmaster, I nurtured our relationship, and I was in a state of disbelief. Have you ever had a best friend and you had to sever that relationship because you trusted vulnerability, you let your guards down and you shared everything, and not knowing, laying on all of that, there was jealousy. And also, have you ever had a relative who is so destructive that he or she would find any way to destroy your friendship of a beloved friend. My relative did that. And I am telling you, it was one of the most devastating moments in my life. The tornado came in, and I had to make a decision to end that relationship. I remember Cindy calling me. She was married at that time because she was a little older than me, and her husband called me on the phone. And I remember putting the phone on my bed, and I was sobbing so profusely. And I said, I cannot do this anymore, because she continued to believe what my relative was telling her, and the phone calls and the connection and the back alley phone calls. But I didn't know that she was so jealous because I had more than she did. But we shared so much together that I never thought that about that at all. So, fellow Toastmasters and friends, I want to let you know, even that you can trust again. You can let go of all of the negative attitudes and let go of anything that has gone on and develop and build a relationship again with someone. And I would say one of the things that you can do is to be vulnerable, to be cautious, take time and develop that relationship. And why my relationship was so painful, because we grew up together from teenage years and childhood. So we spent a lot of time. But you can trust again. You can really let go of that negative feeling of being betrayed, of being not being betrayal, yes. But in order for us to have that human connection, we have to have some trust in someone. Where do we find trust? Not only in relationships with our family and friends, we find trust in our work with our colleagues. If I or you do not trust your colleagues, how are you able to let go and to do your work together? So, fellow Toastmasters, Cindy was so terrible to me, and she betrayed me. But I have learned to trust again, even with my Toastmasters family, being vulnerable, letting go of the negative things, being cautious, know who to say what to. And I'm telling you, your life will be transformed, because we need each other. But I'm saying, just be mindful. Cindy, we have seen each other years ago and we say hello, but the pain is still there. Fellow Toastmasters, you can trust again.
Thank you, Andrea, for that wonderful, heartwarming, emotional, but touching story about trusting people. I would now ask the timer to put 1 minute on the clock for our guests and members to share some feedback with Andrea.
Starting now. Time's up.
Thank you, Mr. Timer. Our second speaker today is one of our members, Ms. Kelly King Lewis, and she is working from the Dynamic Leadership Pathway. Her speech is 5 to 7 minutes, Kelly, I think you said you are on level 5. Is that correct? Okay. And the name of her speech is Great Leaders, Made or Born. What a powerful title. I can't wait to hear your speech, Kelly. You may begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Thank you, Toastmaster members, and thank you, honored guests. Yes, the title of my speech is Great Leaders. Are they made or are they born? And this is something that I thought about a lot, and this was very interesting because today we are going to be voting for new positions in our organization, so it's very, very exciting. But what are the ingredients that make a good leader? Are they born? Are they made? Have you ever worked for a really great boss? Or have you ever been attended by a superb doctor? Or have you ever been ignited by someone in an organization like here? I'm ignited all the time by the leaders that we have here. But we usually call these people dynamic, magnetic, influential, inspirational, and sometimes they do it very subtle. And the common name we call and we use is leader. And I've had the privilege to share the workspace with a really great boss. I've been very, very fortunate to be attended by an excellent doctor, and at a time when it was considered one of the most precarious times in a woman's life. And I've also come under the tutelage of some very dedicated and inspirational community organizers whose passion and their fervor was so infectious. But no matter their disparate or different occupations, one thing I could call them all was a leader. And sometimes we don't recognize good leaders as often as we do when we come in contact with the antithesis of a good leader. Everybody's had the person that you're like, okay, that is not good leadership. And the dictionary describes a leader as a person who commands a group or an organization or a country. And I humbly submit, and perhaps to many of your disagreements, perhaps, which I respect, but that from 2016 to 2020, our nation experienced the antithesis of good, sound leadership. But this is not a debate or question about one's personal, leadership or lack thereof, or any person's belief or their political leanings. But when we think about leaders and leadership, we tend to think more about styles, like an autocratic style or authoritative style or democratic style or coaching style. And then when we think of leaders, what usually comes to mind are people who are in business and those who hold a title like a manager or director, vice president, chairperson, or CEO. The dictionary definition of a leader is someone who can see how things can be improved and who rallies people to move toward a better vision. I counter that a leader can be found anywhere and at any time. And there are 3 batteries, I think, that help all leaders, and no matter where they are and no matter who they are. And those 3 things are respect, humility, and gratitude. So respect. When I think about respect, sometimes we think about like doctors and people with titles, and doctors usually elicit respect because they're revered in their places where they work, hospitals and health centers, because of their position and their esteem in the medical community at large. And some doctors regard themselves with all their schooled learning, and they never learn to listen to their patients. They come in as the expert. My experience with my OBGYN was quite different. Not only did he have the respect of the medical community that he was in for his degrees and for his papers and for his clinical work, but he was also respected by his staff and his patients, by the nurses and the orderlies and everyone. I remember having given birth to my first daughter, and I was, I mean, first time mothers, you're just like all over the place because you don't know what to do. They gave you this baby, you had this baby, and you're like, oh my gosh. So he's coming in to consult with me and just talk to me and just kind of calm me down. You're going to send me home soon, I know, but I'm not ready for this. And the orderly was there changing my sheets. And as he was talking to me, he was actually helping the person make my bed. Now, how often does a doctor help make a bed? And when the doctor left, his name is Dr. Albritton, you know, the orderly said, I've never had a doctor do anything like that ever. So he had the respect of the people that he worked around because he respected people. And he led with respect toward people, not because of their title or position. He respected people and allowed them to have a voice simply because they were people. And sometimes I think leaders miss out on amazing relationships and amazing partnerships and experiences because they put titles first. The second tenet or characteristic would be humility, is humility. And for me, it's simple. I've come this far by God's grace, and I have so very far to go. And that's what I believe. And sometimes what can get in the way of a leader's success is their own accomplishments, their degrees, their titles. I had the experience of working for a former boss, and he was a man of humility. He spoke to everyone, everywhere, all the time. He was a C-level executive. And one thing he was definitely afraid of, though, was mice. And in our office, we had a real big rodent problem. So on one occasion, immediately before he was going to have a meeting in his office, he saw a mouse. So all bets were off. He came out of his office, he stood by my desk, and if you can imagine this 6'2", 200-pound man, like, the day is over, okay? I mean, he was scared of something no more than 6 inches long and 1 pound in weight. But there he was, just refusing to continue his day. So I had to find a solution. I called facilities. And because he's the type of person that he was in his day-to-day, they came right away. And at first you may think that they came because he was the COO, but in just seeing how he interacted with everyone and just how they were just right there. And I knew it wasn't because he was COO, it was because of how he treated people. So finally the mouse was ensnared in the trap and whisked away. If you could have seen the look of relief on his face, he was so grateful. And he was always still so humble. And so humility opens doors because we're always going to need people to help us out. And the last one I think is the biggest one is gratitude. And, if you ask people, it's like, well, what is gratitude? They most likely will say, well, it's saying thank you. But I'd like to assert that gratitude is a lifestyle. It's a way of living, of giving thanks. And we may not always have the opportunity to say thank you, but living a life of gratitude to me expresses that we are not here on our own merit. We are where we are because people have helped us. To believe that we are in a place where we stand because of our own merit is just selfish. And I dare to even say a little sinful. Gratitude opens doors, not just physical doors, but the doors to hearts and minds. So no matter what roles we play at work or at home or in our places of worship or in community, we all have access to these 3 leadership qualities: giving respect, practicing humility, and living in gratitude. And with those 3 tenets, they will take us wherever we want to go. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
No, thank you, Kelly, for that wonderful speech. I'm sure we'll all remember those 3 qualities that every leader should have. I would now like to ask our timer to put 1 minute on the clock so our guests and members could share some feedback with Kelly privately. You can send her a chat message.
Starting now. Time's up.
Thank you, Mr. Timer. It's Now we have completed the speakers portion of the meeting. We will now move on to table topics, one of my favorite parts of the meeting. This is where we'll be working on our impromptu speaking. And today's table topics master is none other than our timer, Mr. Giuseppe. So I will hand it back to you, Giuseppe, to introduce the theme and the topics for tonight.
Your favorite table topic master. So here I am. So I'm going to start in a different way. It's not theme tonight, but I want to do a little change. So let's do a very quick 1 minute relaxation. So close your eyes. Everybody, close your eyes. Take a deep breath from your nose. Count up to 3. Now, release everything from your mouth. Just do it again. We're going to do it 3 times. And when you're ready, just yawn. That's all. And I know it's funny, but the reason why yawning is such a great way to release the stress is because we don't yawn if we are being chased by a tiger. If a tiger is following us, we are not going to yawn. We are yawn when we are bored. So in our head, we are bored right now, which is great because I want to entertain. So let's see, who wants to join for the first question of tonight? Sorry? Oh, Zach. All right, Zach. Sorry. Being a timer and being a Toastmaster, a table topic master is hard sometimes. All right. So very simple, Zach. Your question is, which is the talent that you wish you never had?
Thank you, Table Topics Master. What is a talent that I wish I never had? That's an excellent question and is something that's very subtle. A very good question for which I'm still trying to figure out a talent that I wish I never had. I would say that I wish goodness, you stumped me on this. A talent that I never had. I wish that I didn't love New York City so much, that I'd be more open-minded to living in other areas. I really like living here. My heart is here, but I feel that it limits me to living in other places, to picking up and living in Paris or California or someplace like that. So if I was more open-minded, and I'm not even sure if I'm answering the question, but I know how Table Topics works. I'm trying to avoid the fillers. That was an excellent question, so thank you very much, Table Topics Master.
I know, and it's a hard one. All right, so who else wants to join tonight?
Is it the same question or is it a different question?
It's going to be a different one.
Okay.
A very different one. All right, Jahnavi. So, are you familiar with all those science fiction movies where it comes the big alien ship and it's going to destroy Earth? All right. So, it comes the big alien ship, especially now that 60 Minutes is saying that, yes, they are there. So, well, becomes a big one and is going to destroy Earth. But they decided that you are going to be the person that will change their mind and telling them why Earth is so special, why humanity is so special, and we need to be left alone.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters, guests, and Mr. Topics Master. I wonder if you're going to like my answer or not. I don't have an answer for this question you just presented to me, but I would like to chime in on the question you gave to Zach about what is the talent he wished he didn't have. And that is, I wish I didn't have the talent of consuming food when I see it. And what I mean by consuming food is that most people say you should look with your eyes and not with your mouth or your stomach, which means, absorb as much as you can with your eyes and your smells so that you would eat less. But I think that doesn't really stop me because I see with my eyes, I smell, it's amazing, I'm in euphoria. And then I just gobble it all up. And then I forget that I'm not a cartoon, that, if I keep on this path that I'm on, that I will also not grow in vertically, but horizontally. So I wish I didn't have this talent of constantly never-ending eating. And I hope someday I will be able to control it. Back to you, Mr. Topics Master.
Thank you. It's true. I wish I don't have that thing too. All right. So who else wants to join tonight? I promise. Kelly? Yeah? Let's see from our amazing list. Okay, this is a simple one. It comes your friend from overseas, and you need to convince him why New York City is such a great city.
Okay. Well, thank you, Table Topics Master. Being a native New Yorker, reared in Harlem, and having lived other places, I can say that this is an amazing place. Yes, there are some things about it that aren't so great. Sometimes it's a little dirty, sometimes it's a little gritty, sometimes it's a little too much. But one thing about New York, several things about New York, the culture here, the people here are amazing. They have an amazing heart. You can do just about anything you want to do in New York City, whether you have a lot of money or a little. And you can do things outdoors, you can do things indoors. There's plenty of free stuff. It is a beautiful city. And the great thing about it is that you don't need a car. And even if you do have a car, well, good luck parking, but there are garages. And you get to go to Brooklyn, Queens, you get to go to Staten Island, you get to go to different places. But it is an amazing city for education, for culture, for arts, for work. It is just an amazing place to be. And if you give it a chance, I think you would really love it. Just come with an open mind, come with an open heart. Don't mind the rat in the subway with the pizza, but it's a really great place to be. And if you find a native New Yorker, I think they can show you the heart of New York and really just show you just the best that we have to offer here. Thank you, Table Topics Master.
You're welcome. Actually, we have the best pizza. It's so good that even the rats want it. So.
Pizza rat.
So who else wants to join? And I think two more, this and another one.
Giuseppe, I will go if I can have the question that Jahnavi didn't answer about the evil spaceship.
Okay, I will, no problem. All right, Vishesh. Let's see. What activity do you enjoy to do, but you're so afraid of doing it that just you think you need to stop?
Thank you, Toastmaster, for the question. It's very interesting, the question that you brought up. The activity I really enjoy, but I still don't want to do is, it comes to my mind, yawning is one of those activities, especially starting up the speech, right? I love to do it to get more oxygen to my brain, but still would like to avoid it in front of my audience to do it. That also indicates a non-verbal communication type of me being lazy or not interested to the speech that I'm going to present. So yeah, that's the topmost activity that comes to my head right now. Thank you, thank you, Toastmaster, for this question. Back to you.
Yes, it's true. Yawning can be a little bit scary, even though I will say that yawning also could cause. If you're in a competition against somebody, yawn. The person will say, "Oh my God, I'm lost. He's so bored. I'm out of here." So,
That's true.
Michael, since you want to be the one telling us what to say to those evil aliens, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Table Topics Master. I was smiling when you asked that question because the first thing that came to my mind is the movie Independence Day. I don't know how many people have ever seen that movie where the big ship comes down to destroy the world, except that Will Smith and I forgot the other character, they didn't convince them not to. They just figured out a way to defeat them. But I will go to one of my other favorite shows that I watch, which is Star Trek. Star Trek has a character called Q. Q is all powerful, all knowing, and can destroy anything at the blink of an eye. And it's always up to Captain Picard to convince him not to do that by pointing out to him the humanity in man and all of the good things that are here on this earth. So we would take that same approach, take the person in New York City, as Kelly mentioned, about all the good things we have here, the positive things that happen in Times Square, Coney Island, all the beaches, the beautiful parks. Why would you want to destroy all of this? Look at all of the happy people, happy children running around. Everyone's happy. Why would you want to destroy this? Come down and enjoy it with us. Bring your bathing suits. We'll take you to the beach. We'll take you to Far Rockaway. We'll take you to the Statue of Liberty. We'll give you a helicopter ride so you can really see this wonderful place that you really want to think about destroying. Don't destroy it. We're good. We want to be friends with you. So come and spend a summer with us. We have Martha's Vineyards. You can spend time up there. You can go to the Poconos. We can take you camping, to trails. You know, we have a lot of things that you can do. So don't destroy us. Come on down and see what we're all about. Back to you, Mr. Table Topics Master.
That was a great answer. And we have Stewie. Really good food. So I'm going to need less than a minute because I was forgetting about putting the names on the poll. But so back to you, Jahnavi, while I put the names, okay?
Okay.
Thank you so much.
No problem. That was a very interesting and fun topic session. I love the randomness of the questions, which always makes us work better, harder, and come up with speeches on the spot, just like I did just now. I would now like to bring up our general evaluator while Giuseppe is working on the table topics poll. Our general evaluator today is Mr. Zachary.
Thank you, Toastmaster. My name is Zachary Auslander, and I'm the general evaluator for this meeting. And this portion of the meeting, we're going to go over get some feedback. The first thing what we're going to be doing is is going over the evaluations for the speeches. And we're going to start with the evaluator for the first speech. And the evaluator is Michael, and this is for Andrea's speech. Michael, are you ready?
I am.
Okay. So please proceed when you're ready.
Okay, good evening again. I'm back to Earth, and we'll try to do this evaluation. Miss King, your speech was very good, very enjoyable. I made a lot of notes, and one of the things that everyone who's a member here knows is that I hate to evaluate. But as Lois always tells me, you've got to do it. That's the way you get good at it. So I want to thank you, Ms. King, for your speech. Your topic was, can you trust again? And your opening actually asked the question again, can you trust again? And you gave the definition of trust. And then in the body of your speech, you went into some personal experiences, which are always good when giving a speech. And so I commend you for that. I didn't take specific notes about the content of your speech, but more so of the presentation of your speech. And then for your closing, you really brought all the points home. And you ended the speech with a statement. So you switched it around. In the beginning, you asked the question, can you trust again? When you ended your speech, you said, you can trust again. And your body of your speech brought you to that ending. So I truly commend you. I truly commend you on that. Your pace was very good. You're the type of speaker who you don't speak fast, you don't speak slow. You have a really even pace that people can keep up with you. They understand you. It's like you're emphasizing almost every sentence that you give. And that's a good thing. It gives people a better perspective of the speech. You know how to change your voice tones in order to really, really emphasize a point or points in the speech, and you did that a few times. In the beginning, you were moving your head back and forth, so it seems like you were partly reading and then partly looking for your camera. But towards the last third of your speech, you were totally locked in with us, and you gave us a lot of eye contact. So you balanced it out. So maybe in the beginning part, middle part, you can give a little bit more eye contact, but you gave a lot of it towards the third portion of your speech. Your speech went, Giuseppe will give you the exact time, but the speech went a little over 7 minutes, which was fine. I think you were still in the range, even though they say 5 to 7 minutes. When you have something good to say, most of the time people are going to go over time with their speech. What else? You're comfortable. You were comfortable with your remarks. Your dictation is good. You speak the King's English very well. Very well. So I want to commend you on that. You have good diction. Like I said, you emphasized your points well. And I think you just really, really got your message. So overall, very, very good speech. You know, continue to challenge yourself as far as giving more attention to your audience. And you can only get better. That's obvious. So congratulations, and back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael. That was an excellent evaluation. Our second speaker was Kelly, and her evaluator is someone who may be subtle, but he's one of the backbones to this club. And we're talking about none other than the one, the only, Eddie Diaz.
That was too much of an introduction. So, Kelly, really wonderful job. But before I start, Kelly, I will say don't forget to put your speech on the agenda. That way I can print out your evaluation form, which I wasn't able to. So I'm going to give you a more general evaluation. If you still want me to fill out that form, just email it to me after. But going to the evaluation, like I said, wonderful speech, really great title. Great leaders made or born. You really brought us in right from the beginning. Your introduction was very strong. You started with a string of rhetorical questioning. Then you had a dictionary definition in there, and you combined that with like strong hand gestures, did some air quotes, shoulder rolls. Like, I love the physical charisma that you bring to all of your speeches, even when it's just table topics. So you're really, really good at that. And so that kind of charisma and energy really brings us in even further. So as far as your speech content goes, really great job with your 3 supporting points: respect, humility, gratitude. We all still remember those 3 supporting points, after you spoke. So you really did great job of like really making those sticking points. Good job with giving us an example from your own life of the COO, which really stood out. I was really invested in hearing that story. As far as what you can do better, you were speaking a little bit fast, so I would maybe slow it down just a little tad. Maybe incorporate some pauses in there, because everything you're saying is really great, and I was able to follow every word. But if you add a pause, it really does give some dramatic heft to what you're saying. So let's try to work on that. And there were a few times where I could tell that you were reading a little bit. So maybe, some more rehearsal can maybe help with that. Let me see here. The conclusion, good job. Well, when it comes to the conclusion, you did summarize your objective and you repeated your 3 supporting points, but it felt rushed. It felt like you kind of, you told us all about gratitude, and then suddenly 2 sentences later, you gave us a conclusion. Done. Really landed for. Like, I was part of another Toastmasters club where I kept hearing this speech tip that said, tell them what you're going to tell them. Tell them what you told them. Right. And so don't really skip on that conclusion. Right. Tell us what you told us. Right? Really go through it with us. Make sure that we remember. And that's about it. Really great job overall. You're an excellent speaker. Thank you so much. And back to our general evaluator.
Thank you, Eddie. Very, very good evaluation. The next part for the general evaluation is hearing the Watchtower reports. The first one that we're going to hear is from our counter, and that's Michael Smith. Michael, can you just describe what the counter does and provide the report, please?
Absolutely. Thank you again. The counter is the person who listens for the filler words that people use when they're sort of stuck and a part of their speech. So there'll be words such as well, so, like, but, and not all the time. And so you guys actually did very, very good tonight, to be honest with you. Either you did very, very good tonight, or I just really missed a hearing, and I was focusing as hard as I could to try to pick things up. So, when you're Toastmaster, as I've learned, you're always going to have a couple. So, Jahnavi, you had an and a so. Vishesh, I always account for accents. So I only put, you had 3, an and a so, that really stood out or was prominent. Okay, just wanted to bring that to your attention. Kelly, Eddie said in your speech, you do talk fast, and that's when your ums come out, when your pace starts to speed up. So you had a couple, but everyone else, and Miss King, you had one so, which just, really sort of stood out a little bit. And it was the only one throughout your entire speech. Other than that, everybody else, you did very, very good tonight. So I commend everyone.
Thank you.
General Evaluator.
Thank you, Michael. Just a question for Giuseppe. I'm seeing the favorite table topics.
Yeah, I press I pressed the launch by mistake, but you can vote.
I can't submit though.
You can submit. That's strange. Let me look.
Okay, so
I will. In the meantime, we talk. Okay.
Right. So I'm going to close that
So
out.
in the meantime, I can be. No, you cannot submit. I don't know why.
Actually, can you hold off because you're the next watchtowers with many hats. So just to finish up in terms of the watchtower, the next watchtower is the timer, and it's none other than Giuseppe. So take it away, Giuseppe.
Thank you. So for tonight, we had 2 speeches and 5 table topics and 2 evaluators. So for all prepared speeches, we have Andrea King. She did 7 minutes, 48 seconds. It's good timing, really. It's a perfect timing for a regular meeting. But work out a little bit of timing. Remember, you have extra 30 seconds if you were in a competition. Kelly, you did 7 minutes, 45 seconds. Same as Andrea. Good timing, really good timing for a regular meeting, but work out the timing so you can be perfect on any competition. For the table topics, Zach, 1 minute, 3 seconds. I know it was the hardest one. Jahnavi, 1 minute, 21 seconds. It was a good segue to go from, I don't care, the aliens, they can do whatever they want. I want to say what I want to say. And Kelly, 1 minute, 36 seconds. And that actually, it was, to me, the favorite one. But since I cannot vote, nothing I can do there. Vishesh, 39 seconds. In a competition, you will have been disqualified. You need to be 1 minute or the 2 minutes. That's your range. Okay? But you will improve. Don't worry. It's your first time. With that, we move into, wait a minute. Michael, 1 minute, 50 seconds on your table topic. And yes, you basically told those aliens, come here, that's it, forget about it. Eat the pizza and you will be staying here. For evaluations, Michael, 3 minutes, 24 seconds. Eddie, 3 minutes, 3 seconds. And with that, we are done for the timing tonight. Okay. Back to you, Mr. Evaluator. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Giuseppe. That was an excellent timer report. This meeting is yes, Watchtower is I believe it is a Toastmaster reference. I've heard that before. So this meeting is a little bit different than the format. Normally we'd be wrapping up at this time, but we have something special going on. What I would do is I would just give an overall evaluation, and I'll just do that just very succinctly, which is I thought we started on time. It was wonderful just having our guests. The guests were introduced, everyone participating. I just really like it. So I'll just leave it at that because we do have the elections coming up, and that occurs once a year. So I'm going to hand this back to our Toastmaster, Jahnavi.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Does that mean you concluded your evaluation, or we're just going to go with the election?
Who is the table topic speaker, the winner? And who everybody thinks it is? Mr. Michael Smith.
Okay. Okay, thanks, Giuseppe.
So, guess if you guys want to stay, can stay. Or I don't know. I leave it up to Jahnavi.
Well, I just wanted to clarify, Zach, you finished your evaluation, right, of the meeting?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, all right. I wasn't sure.
Thank you for asking.
Okay, thank you. All right. So I know we usually ask guests to share some feedback Can we do the election after that, or you want to do before that?
We can ask the guests for a bit of feedback, and then we'll close the formal meeting, and then we'll open the club business meeting.
Okay. All right. I would now like our guests, if you could share some feedback about what you liked about the meeting, any feedback that you would like to give us, I would really appreciate it. And I know there's a couple of people, so let's start with Sally, who I see on my screen.
Hi. Thank you, Toastmaster, to ask this feedback. This is my first time, but really very impressive, especially for table topics. Very creative and a lot of interesting things going on there. Very attractive for that topics. I love it. And also, I could feel the general evaluator or the speaker evaluator gave a very specific evaluation and the suggestion. Yeah, very, I like that. I think that would be very helpful for the speaker to improve the skill and the next delivery. So I think I love it as well. So sounds like everything I love it because the speaker gave a very touching, informative speech and a well prepared, well organized. And also whole meeting is a well organized as well. Like a Toastmaster, you gave the reason why you choose Toastmaster role in the meeting. So I think it's all very impressive. So I love it. And also I think I will definitely enjoy you, enjoy the meeting and join you for the next. Thank you.
Thank you, Sally, for your feedback. We appreciate it. Our next guest is Dorcas Garcia. I hope I said your name right. If you could share some feedback about the meeting, we'd really appreciate it.
Hi, yes, I'm Dorcas. I really like the table topics the most because it kind of puts you on the spot and you have to think quickly and come up with a speech. That was my favorite. Thank you.
Thank you, Dorcas. And last but not least, Andrea, I believe you're alumni of this club, but you're also from Advanced Public Speakers. If you could share some feedback as well.
Yeah, sure. It's always such an honor to be in the greatest company, particularly TIC Toastmasters Club. It's home, and I keep coming home and having the warm welcome. When the meeting began, I think it was Kelly shared the tip of the day, reminding us to breathe and the importance of breathing. It helps us not only to be healthier, but it helps us also with our presentation skills, reminding us we don't have to rush, that we can pause and really be more effective presenter. So I love that. Also, yarning, reminding us that yarning it's really healthy, and being in good company here this afternoon. It's one place you keep coming back, and the doors are always open, and the individuals, the members are always warm and welcoming. So I really enjoyed the meeting, the table topics, the speeches, and most of all, your beautiful smiles.
Thank you so much, Andrea, for that wonderful feedback. And to all of our guests, thank you for your feedback. This concludes our meeting for today. We are now going to move on to the election of the club officers for the upcoming Toastmasters year, which is July 1st till June 30th of next year. Just a few announcements for the evening is that next week we hope to have an official new member induction ceremony. So all of the new members who are here today, please also come next week so we can induct you officially. And I'm very excited that Eddie will be doing this going forward. And I'll pass it to Giuseppe because it looks like you had a question.
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
all right. So, yes, Zach, looks like you have a question.
Yeah, I think you mean 2 weeks, not 1 week.
Oh, I'm sorry, in 2 weeks. Yeah. See, I'm so excited about our meetings that I wish it was next week. I mean in 2 weeks, which is June 16th. So mark your calendars. I'm sure it's going to be as exciting as it was today. And now I would like to pass it on to our president, Mr. Ari, who will conduct the elections tonight.